people who hate the Transformers films give Michael Bay a lot of flack. I mean, yeah, The Last Knight is a garbage film, but there's some stuff that I can find that I appreciate. You got some little girl in there for like 10 minutes not doing much, but, you know, girl power. A romantic girl that's not just delicious string cheese, perhaps? I say perhaps because we're still trying to figure that out. Characters like Cogman and Anthony Hopkins. Body who's been taken over by a child's mind. I guess Bay really did learn his lesson after all these years. What's that? A Transformer that speaks with a French accent but isn't actually French? This character had a pretty rough release. Hot Rod was the only The Last Knight Deluxe figure to be part of the Walmart exclusive Autobots Unite sub-theme. Some areas got it, but in my area, I think we had for about a month before it was lost to myth. In The Last Knight, Hot Rod was apparently listed as Bumblebee's brother-in-arms. And just like him, he eventually became the guardian of a human character, Vivian. He also, for some reason, had a French accent, because of course. What? Are you telling me the Bumblebee film totally removed the scene from canon where Hot Rod blows up a bunch of Nazis? Well, good. We don't have to remember that. We don't have to talk about that ever again. Fuck Studio Series! Hot Rod did also feature packaging art for both the exclusive line and sneaked in a regular Premiere Edition package. With that, how's the toy? Hot Rod is an extensive remold of the Age of Extinction Lockdown, who transformed into a different model of Lamborghini instead of just tweaking it and keeping the open gap. Hot Rod's shell is completely redone to fit the mold of the Lamborghini Centenario, Continario, whatever you pronounce it your way. Instead of the crappy colors, Hot Rod feels very consistent, mostly black with transparent clear plastic right down to the headlights that blend into the hood. If you're missing that G1 flare, at least it does have a red trim at the bottom, and another above the window, which is hard to make out but appreciated. Actually, the molding in general is a huge improvement. Check out the hood itself, so much work that settles into a clean shape. Lamborghini logo on the front, which is somehow easier to make out than the masterpiece. Jeez, step up your game. Where's toy? I'll buy a bunch. Painted rims, and while the back has no paint, the extensive molded detail still pops, but where's the giant ridiculous spoiler? Is this it? Is this even Hot Rod? Is this even Blitzwing? Those silver Autobot logos on the dark canvas. Oh, just all the joy. No way to port the weapons, but that might not be a problem in perspective. I know some people have issues tabbing in the wheel wells, but mine manages just fine. If you tab everything together, it should function as a regular individual in society. I mean, automobile. Listen, this isn't the G1 alt mode, but that was also a crazy car from the future. Honestly, looking back, I can kinda see the squarish Lambo aesthetic, but that might just be me, and how surprisingly stupid I am. Because, you know, if you disagree with me, I'm an idiot, right? Am I salty today? I would prefer it as red for nostalgia purposes, but I'll take how it is. The coloring totally works for the car, and I think the toy makes it work. Robot mode. Hot Rod's design is interesting to say the least. With the giant shoulder pads and the head sculpt, I'm not sure what they're going for exactly.
Oh, French! Oui, oui, baguette!
Let's get the elephant out of the room. There was some argument before release whether or not this was a remold of Lockdown. I mean, from a glance you can see the resemblance, but there's a lot that's changed. Arms are almost completely new, and the way they built the body that compresses into itself on the front, extending both parts to fit the alt mode while keeping the general transformation process, allows him to be much taller than the undersized predecessor. Unlike Lockdown, Hot Rod decided to put a butt plate on himself. Good! Now you can stop shoving soda balls. I'm gonna stop right there. Other improvements include not being absolute shit. Don't let this fool you. It is an extreme remold. While most of the body is changed, the interior joints return. Examples include the little joint in the elbow, the piece attached to the shoulder pad, shoulder ball joint, assembly holding the neck and back and front of the torso, hip joints, and even the entire lower legs and feet, despite the fact he doesn't actually have toes. And it's disgusting. It's like giving Sonic thighs. The head. Oh, the head. It's the ugliest fucking head I've ever seen on a Transformer toy. Not because it's messy, busy, or clunky, but it's fucking ugly. At least it's painted well, but the eyes and mouth looks like a blobfish. Have I been gnomed? To its credit, it's got a beret. I think it's got a visor installed. Watch out for these things on the back. I'm noticing stress marks, but you know, this thing is in constant pain. Did someone say, articulation? Ball jointed head, ball joint shoulders, rotation below, elbow bend, hips out and in, forward and back, rotation below, knee bend, and foot moves. He's got joints all around, however, there's a limitation to it. While the arms have a good built flow, the elbow doesn't really get a good bend depending on where you line it. Also, his legs look way too thin for his upper torso, making a lot of poses feel awkward. While I'm sure it gets better with accessories, he's got no accessories. For the love of baguette! Reportedly, a prototype tested that it would come with the remold of Lockdown's weapon, but the final release missed out. It's really disappointing because with a figure like this, he's desperately missing something to fight with. You could probably give him a spare weapon, maybe siege fire drive, or do what I did and custom build a stop the time gun. I did this out of cardboard and don't bother asking for a tutorial. I will give it credit, the design, aside from the garbage face that'll take a little more than proactive to fix, and the paint job is pretty well done. The silver on top of the borderline black is nice, and the red acts as a bonus. He doesn't stand out on display, but I feel like an effort was made. Hot Rod is a vast improvement compared to the Lockdown, but that doesn't really make him a great figure. There's points to appreciate, but it doesn't save it from being overall a little bland and underwhelming. There is a couple of third-party figures that seem to do wonders, but this is a more simpler figure among a major toy line. It's not going to be perfect. Funny enough, when I thought about the design before a toy was announced, I was worried it was going to be a straight-up reissue from Lockdown with a new head. I'm glad they put a little more effort than expected into this figure. Little disappointing, but if you like the look and can see past some of the issues like the ugly face, I'd say just don't buy it from a scalper. Did you know that in the French version of the film, Hot Rod speaks with an Italian accent? Get the balls!
Oh, French, oui, baguette!